I wanted to make this video because I've had 3 people just today ask me what should they do with their kids while their kids have to be home from school due to the coronavirus. If you got sent this video and you're not my friend, you don't know who I am, my name is Emily. I have been homeschooling for over a decade now and I love homeschooling. I teach people how to do it. So I'm making this quick video so you know what to do with your kid. So number one, first thing to know is I empathize with you. If you are not used to being home, you're used to being at work or just having your kids at school, it's hard. I mean, it's like summertime blues for parents, right? Kids coming home. It's stressful. You're off your routine, but they're also off of their routine. They're used to going to their school with their teacher that they know and the building that they know, and someone is directing every single part of their day, and now they're home and nobody's telling them what to do at every single minute. It can be hard. So have compassion on your kids, have compassion on yourself. It takes some time to adjust. Think about when you start a new job. It's exhausting just because it's different. So don't totally freak out about and think I can never homeschool, because you could, because you would get used to it. It isn't that bad. It's just takes some time to transition. Number two, pause. Okay, number two, I don't want you to worry about your kids being behind. A lot of people are thinking, oh my gosh, my kids are going to be behind. I want them to keep up with their learning. You shouldn't worry about this, and I'll give you 2 evidences of why. Okay, number one, in American schools, we stop the whole schooling for 3 months out of the year. I don't think we should do that for a lot of reasons, but we do it and everyone seems to be okay. They graduate fine. They know enough. So if your kids have to stop school for 3 months now, why does it matter that it's now and not in the summer? Who cares? They're going to catch up. They're going to be okay. Number 2, think about how you learn as an adult. As an adult, you might get really into reading about a certain topic like Harry S. Truman, and then you know all about him and Independence, Missouri and everything. And then the next year you're like, I don't really remember that. There are 3 topics that I actually would encourage you to try to keep your kids going on a semi-regular basis. Is it the end of the world if they take an entire month off? No, it's not. But if you're kind of thinking well, I'd like to keep them going, I would keep them going in math if you can. My guess is that schools are going to send home work with you, especially if the kids are older. And if the kids are younger and your school's not sending home anything, take a clue from that. It's not that big of a deal. They're going to catch back up. But math is one thing that it's kind of good to keep your brain going step by step and continuing on. And the other one is handwriting. Handwriting is kind of like a daily thing where they build practice over time. And then third one, reading. So especially if your child is learning to read, it takes kind of steps to keep building that process. So if they're learning to read, I might, show them some Hooked on Phonics videos, some Leapfrog videos, and keep that process going. And then maybe check out some beginning readers from the library, like Boxcar Children. I don't know where your child's at, but, just kind of keep those 3 things going. That is plenty, because like science, history, all that stuff, they'll naturally, as humans, we might learn a ton of information about a thing, then we forget it. It's not really that big of a deal. But those are the things, math, handwriting, and reading, that you should probably try to keep going if you're really committed to doing something. If you're not, really not a big deal. The other thing I would say is I would take this opportunity while you're home with your kids to do 4 things that they really don't get enough of while they are in school. Number 1, time in nature. Time in nature is so important, so relaxing, and so instructional, especially now. It's springtime. It's a great time of year. The birds are out. They're building nests. There's creatures. There's flowers busting out. The trees are starting to leaf out. It's a really exciting time to be in nature. And that is a really great thing for kids of all ages. It's relaxing for older kids, but younger kids are just fascinated by bugs, and you can point things out that or you could get a book from the library and say, let's try to identify the trees in our yard. It is a great time to get outside. Number 2, life skills. You would be amazed at the amount of things that kids can learn, even subject material, like you're baking cookies. you're learning math, you're talking about half a cup versus a full cup, or how many cookies need to go on the cookie sheet, and or is it 12? We can do 3 by 4. We could also do 2 by 6. Things naturally just come into play. So fix a toilet, check the oil in the car, bake something, do grocery shopping with all the other hoarders and preppers that are out there. Just have a good time teaching your kids about life and what it means to be a functioning adult. Number 3, reading aloud. Oh, it is so, so good for your kids to read aloud. Their brain, studies show that their brain is so much more active when they are listening to a story and they're having to imagine it for themselves. So, so good. And it also builds the 4th thing, which is relational time with you, mom and dad, or grandma, or whoever you are. That is like the number 1 thing that they need, especially for little kids. If they're like under the age of 10, they really, really need that relational time with you to build their confidence, build their self-esteem. And they're not usually getting that when they're at school. So, I really encourage you. It is more important that your kids have a great emotional connection with you and relationship with you than anything they learn in school, especially in those young years. So I know it's not always easy when you're not used to it, but try to really dig into that. The other thing I would say is, if you are still those are not good enough for me, I want curriculum. If it were me and I didn't already have my curriculum and everything set up, what I would do with my kids during this time where you don't know how long you're going to have them is something called a unit study. This is not something that I normally do, but unit studies are something that a lot of homeschooling families do, where they take a particular topic, like say it could be Vikings, and they use the topic of Vikings to talk about all the other subjects. So say, we're talking about history, the history of the Vikings. Okay, let's get out a globe or a map and look at where the Vikings explored. Let's talk about what the Vikings wore, what language they spoke. They sailed in longboats. Let's make some longboats from some sticks in our yard. There's all kind of stuff you can look up, but you don't even have to create this yourself, because there's already these unit studies online. Some of them are online digital unit studies. Sometimes you can find free ones, sometimes you can find paid ones, but I would just Google homeschooling unit studies and just research and grab a couple to go into. Some of them can be just 1 week, or some could be 3 months, but that's something you can look into and just delve into one topic. And through that one topic, you can hit a lot of subject areas, but you can do it kind of in a short amount of time. The other thing I would say is, if you have little kids and you're I want them to learn, ABC Mouse is a great thing to just jump on. It can help them with reading and basic math. There's Acellus, or I think they call that now Power Homeschool. That's another curriculum option. But I'm not foreseeing that, oh my gosh, society is over, you're going to be homeschooling indefinitely. So these options, I just don't think they're really that important, and I would not emphasize them while you and your kids are going through this transition of being at home together. I wouldn't be oh, it's time to hit the books. You really need a break for both of you to adjust to this new situation of being at home. But I am going to, as I find good resources, I'm going to put them as links down in the comments. So just check out those comments, because I'll be adding stuff there. I also offer a Discover Homeschooling challenge, where it's just 5 days to learn about homeschooling. I also have a long-term homeschooling coaching class. If you're interested in that, I'll put in the links. But I really think that what I've told you in this video, it is what I would do. It is what I think you should do. But I will add some more learning options. Khan Academy is another one, especially if you have older kids. But I'll add some more links in the comments. So I hope that was helpful to you.